People come in all shapes and sizes. Occasionally, we come across shocking humans that defy what we consider the norm. These people are born with conditions that set them apart from others and make them struggle more with their existence. However, despite the odds stacked against them from birth, some exceptional ones have managed to work towards living a normal life, and their stories are amazing. So let's take a look at some of the most odd and unusual people who were born different. Before we get started, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching. Number 10. Versavia Buran-Goncharova. Starting off our list in the number 10 spot is the most unusual of them all. 11-year-old Versavia suffers from a rare disease known as pentology of Cantrell. This disease is so rare, it only occurs in 1 out of 1,000,000 people. Versavia has her heart located outside of her chest. Sadly, because of the disease, she has a deformed diaphragm, abdominal walls, and chest, and also lacks several bones. Unlike other children that would see this as a death sentence or develop a hard outlook on life, Versavia has learned to live with this illness and encourages others to do the same too. Despite the pain she experiences, she doesn't allow her situation to deter her from enjoying life in the littlest way she can. However, the child has to be careful while dressing or bathing, as any rough edges could damage her heart, leading to death. There is currently a cure for her illness, but surgeons have agreed to perform a complicated surgery on her, which would put her heart right back in its place. Number 9. Faith and Hope Young. Faith and Hope Young were born with a rare ailment known as diprosopus. According to medical research, twins born with this rare condition share vital organs with the exception of the brain and face. Before their miraculous birth on the 8th of May, a series of early pregnancy scans had shown that their mother was carrying a form of rare conjoined babies. Although her doctors recommended that she terminate the pregnancy, she opted to push on because she believed the twins might stand a chance after their birth. With 2 symmetrical faces, 2 brains linked by 1 brainstem, and a single body, the 2 girls made tremendous progress in the first few weeks of their birth. However, despite every attempt to keep the girls alive after a surgical operation to separate them, Faith didn't survive the operation, and 23 days later, her sister Hope also died from the complexities of her condition. At number 8, Pitiro Biakatonda. Your first glimpse at Pitiro Biakatonda would probably make you think he's an alien, but no, he has no superpowers. The Ugandan native is sadly a victim of an unusual ailment known as Cruzon syndrome. His condition happens in every 25,000 births, meaning a good number of the world's population may just belong to this family. However, Pitiro Biakatonda's case is about the most extreme one you will ever find. The young Ugandan has a deformed skull that forces his ears down and his eyeballs hanging out of their sockets, thereby leading to serious drawbacks in his sight and hearing conditions. Living in a remote village far from the community hospital meant Pitiro Biakatonda could not receive treatment at birth. He grew up to become the subject of ridicule in his hometown and would spend most of his time indoors. Pitiro would later meet a doctor kind enough to help him through a reconstructive surgery that nearly cost his life. Luckily, he prevailed and currently enjoys a happy life. Number 7. Lyudmila Tichenkova. Coming in at number 7 is the 25-year-old whose jaw-dropping neck has left the world in pure awe. Meet Lyudmila Tichenkova, the Crimean native who was born with an incredibly long neck. Suffering from the rare medical condition known as Marfan syndrome, Lyudmila's neck is the result of a disorder affecting the connective tissues in her spine. With a 30-degree curve at her spine, the 6'11" Tichenkova has always struggled with lengthy body parts, whether it's her neck or her elongated limbs. As you can imagine, growing up was difficult for young Lyudmila as she struggled with her self-esteem. But fortunately, the 25-year-old saw her disorder as more of a cool feature rather than a negative factor in her life. Lyudmila shared, "There was a turning point when I thought, no, this is on the contrary very cool and I started to feel things differently. At number 6, Mandy Sellers. Born on the 20th of February 1975, Mandy Sellers has a unique big legs, often dubbed as elephant legs. Her biography revealed that Mandy had successfully tried to live a normal life and, in fact, boasts of a college degree despite her condition. In a 2012 medical report by Cambridge Clinical Research Facility, it was revealed that this Lancashire-born woman had legs that kept on growing because of a mutation that usually leads to overgrown skin, bone, fat, and tissue. She also happens to be among about 120 people suffering from this rare condition. Mandy described herself as a TV star, not because of her condition, but because many popular TV stations have continued to cover her story. With a net worth of $97 million, Mandy Sellers has been able to successfully build a foundation that caters for people suffering from rare conditions around the world. In 2012, one of her legs was amputated, which allowed her to move around, but here's the shocking thing. Those amputated legs started growing again a short while later. So where does this leave Mandy Sellers? Well, this lady who has been featured in movies such as Losing My Giant Legs and The Eight-Limbed Boy said she's not ready to give up on herself just yet, as she believes scientists will one day find a cure for her condition. Number 5, Kim Goodman. Would you have ever believed that anyone could pop out their eye sockets by 12 millimeters? Well, this might be a difficult task for many, but it's not the same for Kim Goodman. This woman has the largest eyeballs in the world. According to her, she was not born that way, and she only discovered that she could pop her eye sockets out by 12 millimeters after she was hit by a heavy object on her head. Kim can pretty much control her eyes and pop them out on cue. And because of her eye socket popping, she's become known internationally. And in 2004, she was inducted into the Guinness World Book of Records during their 50th anniversary as one of the top 10 feats of all time. Number 4, Didier Montalvo. Colombian-born Didier Montalvo was born with a very rare condition that saw him have a shell-like growth on his back, similar to that of the turtles in the popular animated show Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Coincidentally, he was also dubbed by locals as Turtle Boy. However, Didier's condition was not a thing of joy for him, as he always felt like he was carrying heavy baggage and he couldn't relieve himself of it. This was mostly due to the fact that the growth on his back contributed to at least 20% of his weight. According to doctors and specialists, the growth on his back was a result of a rare illness termed congenital melanocytic nevus. His story, however, doesn't end here, as prominent plastic surgeon Neo Bulstrode took up the case and performed successful surgery on the young boy. Today, Didier is just like any other kid and is living his best life. Number 3, Charlotte Garside. It's often said that kids are, in some ways, pint-sized versions of our adults. But compared to our normal-sized kid, Charlotte was way smaller. According to research, a newborn child should weigh between 5 and 8 pounds. But this was not the case with Charlotte, who weighed only 2 pounds at birth. This development was most unsettling for her parents and the doctors alike, as Charlotte had to spend the first 13 weeks of her life under strict observance from medical personnel. It was believed that Charlotte was suffering from a rare genetic disorder known as primordial dwarfism. People who usually suffer from this type of Charlotte's condition die early on in their life due to health complications, but this doesn't seem to be the case with the Garside child, who continues to hold on and brave the odds. Number 2, Gary Turner. At a young age, Gary Turner developed an unusual skin disorder. The collagen which supports the human skin and maintains a reasonable level of elasticity became defective for the young man. With this, the 51-year-old performer could stretch any layer of his skin for as long as 6¼ inches. On many occasions, the English-born performer would pull the skin on his jaw to cover his mouth and nose. Although Gary's bizarre talent makes a lot of people uncomfortable, which is understandable, he doesn't let it bother him. Instead, he has turned this rare skin condition into a source of entertainment and gets paid good money for it. At number 1, Carlos Rodriguez. We've heard stories of many horrific accidents that have left people permanently disabled, but that of Carlos Rodriguez is quite amazing. Carlos didn't always look like he does today. He had a perfectly formed head just like anyone. However, after taking his fill of some booze and drugs when he was only 14, he grabbed a stolen car and rammed it into a pole. This accident sent him flying through the windshield until he brutally landed on his head on the pavement. Ever since then, his head has remained with half a brain. It's a surprise that he survived such a brutal accident. And with that, we'll end today's video. Which unusual person did we miss out on this list? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and give us a like, and don't forget, turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video from Star 5. Thanks for watching.